Blood on the Bayous is supported in part by Dr. B.B. Trotter from Abilene, Texas, and the Fort Butler Foundation. Thank you.
I'm Don Frazier, and we're continuing our series on the Civil War in Louisiana and Texas. On December 28th, there was an event that came to almost epitomize the situation for the Federals and their Confederate enemies in the Western Gulf. The capital, the crenellated fortress-like castle of state government in Baton Rouge, caught fire and completely burned out, just left as a blackened shell. So this very important symbol of civil authority in Louisiana goes up in flames. At the same time that Union hopes on the Texas coast are going down in flames as well. Abraham Lincoln is getting dispatches from Louisiana and Texas that are just causing him fits. In fact, he's starting to have a little bit of buyer's remorse. He's wondering if Nathaniel P. Banks was the best pick after all, because it's been a steady drumbeat of bad news since he got there. And in fact, Banks is sending dispatches that make him sound like he's already whipped, and he hasn't even been engaged yet. Surreptitiously, Abraham Lincoln sends word to Benjamin Butler saying, "Hey, I know I sacked you last month, but now I kind of want you to go back and clean things up because Nathaniel P. Banks is making a mess of it." Butler refused to even reply. So now Lincoln has made his choice. He's got to live with it. Well, the thing that's getting Banks down is he has a very inexperienced army, and somehow he has to reduce or bypass Port Hudson. That's going to be a tough chore. How do you get around this major Confederate fortification? He doesn't know. Well, he concentrates his forces at Baton Rouge, but he's not sure what to do from there. Does he go east around it, or does he go along the west bank of the Mississippi and bypass it that direction? He doesn't know. Meanwhile, over at Frazier City, David G. Farragut, the admiral of the West Gulf blockading squadron, wants his light draft gunboats back. Well, the problem is those vessels patrolling Berwick Bay were providing a very nice buffer between the Federal garrison at Frazier City and the Confederate-held country up and down Bayou Teche. The Commodore there, Buchanan, says, "You can't have these boats until we eliminate the Confederate threat that's up Bayou Teche." What threat? The partially ironclad CSS Cotton. Now, the CSS Cotton is essentially an artillery platform that can go up and down Bayou Teche and theoretically could sally into Berwick Bay at a moment's notice. It's protecting an emerging line of fortifications, entrenchments, and an artillery redoubt on Bayou Teche that should block any Union attempts to move up that stream into the Attakapaw Prairie country toward cities like Franklin, New Iberia, and Vermilionville. So the Cotton is now the major threat to Union operations along that line of advance. It looks like the longer the Federals wait, the stronger the Confederates will get. So, what do? Godfrey Weitzel gathers together an army, 6 regiments, several artillery batteries, and they are going to go on a reconnaissance in force. So this time, instead of just going up with gunboats and duking it out, he's going to have Union troops on either side of Bayou Teche covering his gunboats. Weitzel's 6 regiments go down either side of Bayou Teche. In the bayou itself are the 4 light draft gunboats, the Australia, the Calhoun, the Kinsman, and the Diana. These vessels will face off against CSS Cotton in a long-range artillery duel the length of that stretch of Bayou Teche. Lots of rounds going up and down that stream. The Cotton would fire, slip back around the corner to reload under cover of trees. The Federals would lose sight of it, and then it would pop back around the corner and fire again. This goes on all day. The infantry on either side of the bayou are facing off against Mouton's infantry coming out of their field works, and they're skirmishing out in the cane fields on either side. The fight is intense. It lasts all day of January 14th, 1863. And in the process, the commodore of this small four-boat flotilla is hit in the temple by a bullet coming from one of the banks of the river. He drops dead. Even so, his ships continue to fight. The Confederate vessel, the Cotton, is also just beat to smithereens by all this artillery fire, including field pieces firing in from either side of Bayou Teche. Its skipper is so badly wounded that he ends up having to steer the vessel with his knees, with his legs. Both arms are essentially rendered useless. He's severely wounded, but still he stays in the fight. Weitzel backs his troops up, backs the vessels downstream, and waits to renew the fight the next day. Overnight, Mouton loses his nerve. Takes a look at the Cotton, sees that it is just shot to splinters. His skipper is nearly dead. He's carried off just nearly a corpse. And he doesn't think that the next day is going to achieve anything. So he orders the CSS Cotton scuttled. A demolition crew takes the vessel down to the line of obstructions blocking Bayou Teche, and there they blow it up, it catches fire, and it sinks and creates a blockage right there on Bayou Teche. Weitzel can't believe his luck. His 6 regiments and 4 gunboats have managed to destroy that very credible threat, the CSS Cotton. So he declares victory. It says, you know what, we've done what we needed to here. Let's go back to Brazier City. Now, if Farragut wants those gunboats, he can probably have them because the Confederates have nothing to threaten us with. So he goes back to Brazier City. He's got a couple of dozen wounded, puts them on a raft, tows them down Bayou Teche, and says, all right, I've done my part here. Now, this is a small victory, but with a steady stream of bad news coming out of Texas, it was a badly needed victory.